Okay, welcome back everybody. Sorry about the breakup. We thought Gary Cutline would be better signal. We didn't see anything from the buffalo. I think they must be further down, but I don't want to risk actually going any further and losing you guys for good. I just saw some vervet monkeys just disappearing off into the bush there. I thought we might be able to get to see them, but they've disappeared quite quickly. I'm just going to sit here and just see if we can see them, but they've gone down. Oh yeah, no, they are moving up into the tree. Let's see if we can move forward a little bit. You can just about see him. Can you see him from there? Just past the tree to the right.
Okay.
Just turned to see us.
Where is it now?
He's literally just at the base of the knobthorn, but if you go right, he's just a little bit further back than the knobthorn.
Okay.
He's just... Okay. I'll just see if we can move forward a little bit more. Oh, there's another one actually just at the back.
I got one climbing up on the tree.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't get a chance to actually see the vervets too often on drive. They're usually around the camp more than not, causing havoc. As I say, we had the baboons this morning, and then we had the vervet monkeys this afternoon. And I even had one coming into the workshop and taking out, there were some moths in a little plastic container sort of close to the ceiling. And I thought, why is he trying to take a screw out the box? And then we realised there was actually a dead moth in there. He was sitting watching me trying to put the seat on the back of Jigger. It's quite amusing. But so they do eat the insects just like the baboons. It looks... I'll just see if I can pull forward a little bit. I've actually got quite a nice view of one here. Please stay. Enjoy your berries. Can you see him? Again, for those of you who are not too sure how to tell the difference between vervet monkeys and baboons, you can see the black face of the vervet monkey, and it's quite a flat face, and you've got the grey body with the very long tail, obviously used for balancing when they do climb into the trees. And you'll see the vervet monkeys more in the trees rather than on the ground. They're more of an arboreal creature, just meaning living in the trees, whereas the baboons, they will climb the trees and they will go to sleep in the trees off the ground where it's safer, but you'll often find them on the ground foraging for roots and insects on the ground as well. And they tend to be much bigger than the vervet monkeys, and their tail kind of does a bit of a hook and falls over, so they don't really use it in a way that the monkeys will for balance. And it's quite a lot shorter in comparison to the body. And they have a face that sort of points out almost like a dog's muzzle. And they don't have the black face like the vervet monkey. They almost one colour, if you like. It's quite a grey muzzle and then sort of a brown fur. There is also another monkey species in South Africa, which is the Simango monkey. It tends to be more down in the forest areas. Although I did read the other day there were supposed to be some in Kruger, but I'm not too sure how true that is. I keep meaning to actually check on that one. Hi Penny, welcome on board this afternoon. I'm just asking if there's an update on the leopards, and just as we were going down this road we've just got a call through that someone's just found one of the boys. It sounds like they're one of them's in the similar area to where we had. I'm not too sure if it's exactly the same area. That there are quite a few vehicles around there at the moment, so I'll certainly try and make my way over there. But at the moment, I think there's about 4 vehicles in the area, so we're not going to be able to get into the sighting just yet. So I'm going to continue driving around and see if we can catch up with maybe one of the other leopards. I'm certainly going to try and go down. We're going to go back over the dam and maybe down Zoe's Road and see how we do down there.
Some mating going on.
Ah, I wonder where the rest of the troop is. Unless these two have sort of broken away, but they don't tend to do that. So I'm not too sure who it is that they found. It sounds like one of the young males. So it's possibly Mishu and Duna. So I thought it'd be nice just to see if we can have a look at the vervet monkeys, because we don't see them too often on drive. I'm not getting a good view of them, are we? I'm getting a very good view. Is it? Okay. It's funny, there's quite a different perspective with the vehicle being a longer wheelbase and the camera being set quite far back. There's even more of a different perspective than what there is on the old jigger. So it's quite difficult to judge from where I'm sitting to what you guys can see.
Yeah, as I take long pole, Monzapan, now when I carry the reserve line heading west. Radication Conjib is crossing to the south. Hey, copy, I'm coming from the gate side. So make sure to check the console for the right place as well.
I'm quite interested to know where the rest of the family is, though. They don't seem to be too phased, but it does look like they're on their own. Unless the rest of the troop are in the trees and we're just not seeing them.
Leaving this one on Pimpan Inga is heading north towards the power line.
Okay, we're going to start making our way towards the area where the leopard's been seen. There is somebody pulling out, so by the time we get there, there should be a space for us. That's got me really puzzled. I didn't hear or see anything else from the vervets. I'm very puzzled. So they usually live in small families. There you go. Awesome. Thank you very much, Penny, for getting back to me with the Samango monkey. Just confirming that it does occur in the far northern part of Kruger. So what I was reading was correct. Quite nice to know. Wow, you can definitely feel the temperature drop now. The sun dipping, going into the shade, definitely feel that temperature drop. I wonder where they went to drink, unless they went south down towards Treehouse now. Maybe one of the pans. Where would you say is closer, Bowery Dam or Treehouse Dam to where they were? Just to where we saw the leopard. No, where we saw them last night, where we had the kill in the tree, which body of water do you think is closer? I think it's probably a much more say. Maybe walk-wise. Actually, maybe Treehouse is closer. Could be, hey? As I say, we can try and predict all we can. Try and understand all we can. And then the animals come up with something completely different. We'll take a shot. Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, grey heron actually catching a frog. Right, it's the second one in a couple of minutes. There he goes. And the hippo is still here, which is nice to see. And our hammerkop coming in to land on the hippos. I love this hammerkop, I think it's great. Riding on the back of the hippos and using them to fish for frogs.
Where is he?
Just on the hippos.
I was still following the...
Oh, you still find the grey heron. It's amazing, the hippos can submerge the bodies and he will still be standing, just with his feet in the water. He has excellent balance. And they actually build the largest nest in one sitting. Remember, the eagles are going to be building large nests, but they'll build them over 2 or 3 years, whereas the hammerkop builds it in one go, and that can be about 50 kilos worth of sticks and twigs. Quite a messy nest. I was hoping to see the woolly neck stork that was seen on drive this morning, down by Buffles Hook Cut Line. We were getting a little bit confused. We thought he was on this dam wall, so myself and Afka were there frantically looking for the stork on the dam wall. We couldn't find it. We couldn't understand why until we realised it was actually on Buffles Hook Cut Line. I was hoping it was going to make its way here. I don't know if it did throughout the day. Didn't hear anything from the ladies. There's been a few raptors around the dam. No, it didn't come today. But there's been a couple of tawny eagles around recently, which has been quite nice.
I figured him go earlier also. I was going to come follow them now, but yeah, they're very good. Copy, thank you for that. I would like to report that I'm not asking you. I'm on the not.
I did hear the baboons over there, but I can't see them now. Might have made the way out onto quarantine already. We'll have a quick look as we drive through. See if we can catch up with the leopard before we lose all the light. Need to go back a bit, or is that okay? It's funny, there's a call from the Birchall starling, and I keep thinking it sounds like the white-fronted bee-eater. And it keeps throwing me out because I keep thinking the white-fronted bee-eater's around here. And I keep looking for them. Such a beautiful little call.
You ask Caroline to cut away. We're just going to cut it. No, tell the audience we're going to cut away. I need to tighten something on it.
Okay, we just need to cut away to Gary quickly. Herman needs to tighten something on the camera. And it's slightly loose, so if we can just quickly cut away to Gary, that would be great.
Hope you're enjoying the hippos as they get ready for their night of foraging here at Gowrie Dam. Did have a little bit of the playing going on just now, so hopefully they'll show us their teeth and their mouths again. I always love watching them when they do that. It's such an incredible sight to see how far they can open that mouth and how wide that jaw is.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Unfortunately, the ball was slightly loose, so it gives you a bit more of a wonky picture. So unfortunately, we have to take the camera off completely to take the ball off and tighten it up for you. So there's space for us with the leopard, so we're just making our way that side. Okay, just to remind everybody who's joining us for the first time, my name is Tara, and I've got Herman on camera with me this afternoon, and Kaz is in final control. And if you would like to ask any questions, then you need to just send them through to final control at safari.tv. And Caroline will be able to send them through to me via the radio, and I'll be able to answer them for you as we drive around or while we're watching the animals. And we've just managed to get a space in the leopard sighting, fairly close to where they were left this morning. So we're going to head back there and see if we can catch up with the boys. We may go through a slight signal drop, but unfortunately either way into that area we do lose signal a little bit. So please bear with us. As I say, this is live, so we don't put anything out or edit anything. Everything that happens, it happens in real time. And some days, the areas where we do have good signal, some days gets a little bit choppy in places, so that's why I've had a bit of a problem this afternoon. But let's say we should be alright where we're going. We've had signal for the past few days there, but we'll just miss you for a couple of seconds, I think. I'm quite interested. I wonder if the small elephant we heard that we had this afternoon was the same herd that passed through last night. Well, it could possibly be, because there was only a few individuals last night, and it was a fairly young herd like it was this afternoon, and it's just really something I've just thought about now. And that's the beauty of what we do here. You guys get to start to understand the animals that live in the area, as long as us. And I've been with the Safari TV for just around 3 months now, so I'm still learning the animals in the area. But it almost becomes a bit of a soap opera, what's happening in their lives, and you're able to follow them as much as we do. Follow what happens in the bush in this area in Juma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. So we hopefully going to try and catch up with the two male leopards who are coming up for 18 months old now. So we're not too sure how much time we're going to be spending with them, as they are coming up to that age where they should be leaving their mother's territory, mother being Karula, our resident leopard. From what I understand, this is her second litter of cubs. The first two were two females, and occasionally we do see them in the area. Tingana's been seen recently with Imvula, I believe, mating. So there may be cubs from her in the next 3 months or so. It's the gestation period of the leopard. It's about 100 days. Just as the sun's disappearing, I'm hoping that we're still going to get a little bit of light with the leopards. But we did have such a beautiful view of them this morning. As I say, Mishu was eating the carcass that we watched last night with the infrared camera. bear
Hi everyone, this is Kaz in Final Control. As we have our problems as we get through to the leopards, I just thought we'd cut to Gari and have a look at the wonderful sunset that's going to be happening tonight. I hope you enjoy the sights and sounds of Gari as we go through our little signal dip, and we'll be back on the jigger as soon as possible.
Okay, welcome back everybody. And unfortunately the signal drop lasted a little bit longer this time, but we back, and apparently it was a boer bean. For those of you asking last night, I couldn't ID the tree, I'm not too familiar with it. We need to now look for just to the east of the tree. It goes to show that was me saying, oh, it probably won't go back, so there isn't anything left of the tree. To show, trying to predict, and they'll do what it is that they want to do. Alright. So.
the northeast, from where just move on that northeast.
Copy, I don't have visual of you yet. Saying, oh, hello. Saying they're north of where we are now.
Yes? There we go. You got 3 levels. Give them more.
Through there?
Yes, I'm just sitting very silent, so I'm making my way to, yeah, just let me know when it's up. And then now he's a little bit further west.
All brief time? Where's my audio in relation to you now?
Not from where
Copy that. How far north are you?
You're very close to me. I don't between to the 3 miles, Marula tree.
Okay, do you see a marula tree? I don't see a marula. Oh, you got, aha. Copy, I've got your visual, thank you. Okay, everybody, we'll be with you just now. Just trying to do as little, excuse me, as little damage to the bush as possible as we enter this sighting. Oh, there they are. Flat cats, I'm not surprised. Yeah. Get them through there or not? I think, is it going to be better if I put my nose in there? I think so. It's not going to do anything. Remember, we don't like to park head on towards cats if we can help it. But I'll see if I can just turn my nose a little bit like that so it's not threatening. There we go. There we go. You boys. Actually, it's more northwest to where they were. The trees, I don't know if you can see my hand, but the trees there, basically, where we had the kill. How's it, guys? Thanks, eh? Oh, thank you. Shut up. How's it?
And now, what are you filming? Maybe
The leopard.
Huh? Maybe you're filming for a video. Get us on it as well.
No, we're broadcasting live at the moment
Yes, I
to the
can't.
internet.
Just
I
tell
actually can't. Well, then we can do it.
We've got some guests wanting to be on TV at the moment.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy.
Asking if we could pan the camera around to them. I can't see who this is at the moment. Let's see if I can get my binoculars.
This is Induna.
Ah, so Induna's got his head up. What's wrong, Induna? You've been very weird recently.
I think it's in. Maybe I'm wrong, mate.
I'll have a quick check. Yeah, it does look like Induna. If anybody on the chat rooms wants to confirm it, I think you are right, Herman. I think it is Induna. But he's definitely not as relaxed as he used to be. I don't know what's happened. Mishu still doesn't seem to be too fazed by the vehicles, but Induna, I don't know. He seems to have gone into hiding a lot more than his brother. We've not seen him as much. Kath, Savuti, everybody's agreeing. Awesome. So I'm slowly getting there. There was that one day where I mixed them up, but the light was wrong. Although he does have his mother's coat. I was commenting this morning it looked like Karula was actually lying down, because the coat looked much older.
I'm losing one section with
Cool, Leela and Patty. Hi to you ladies as well. But definitely, you could see the difference with Mishu's fur to Karula's. Karula's fur definitely looks more worn, if I can put it like that. His looks just all pristine and nice and new, and you can definitely see she's lived a little bit. Not in a bad way, but just there is definitely a difference in her fur to especially Mishu's. And that's why I thought she was lying on the ground and it turned out to be Induna. But what I have noticed, to say, with Induna, he's got an F on his left shoulder. And Mishu's got a nice V with a couple of spot patterns on his shoulder. And that was actually how I ID'd him the other day. So I thought it was Induna in a tree chasing after the squirrel. And obviously, just judging by his behaviour, I should have realised it was Mishu, because he was a lot more agile than what Induna seems to be. I thought, okay, well maybe Induna's actually just got better.
Something just got his attention.
Yeah, it did. Hey, I was just looking. Who are you calling? Is your mother around, little one? So I had a report from one of the guys this morning that Induna actually when he came down the tree with the kill, he actually jumped at the vehicle. So as I say, I don't know what's going on with him. His whole behaviour, his whole attitude is obviously changing. He just doesn't seem to be as relaxed as he used to be, and I don't know why. But I think there may be some questions coming through. Okay. Okay, thanks Jill, and welcome aboard this afternoon. And you're asking, is there more male lions than female lions in the world? I can't remember the ratio now. I've read a couple of ratios, but I don't think lions is one of them. I would say it's probably less males than females. And I remember reading one day, there was, how long ago? It was a while ago now, but it was about 300 copulations are needed before one cub reaches over a year old. So the mortality is extremely high. And obviously females living in a pride, they sort of not safer, but there's less competition. than between males. Obviously with males, obviously it's very highly territorial. You have the coalitions obviously fighting against each other, probably a lot more than what you get the prides fighting between each other. Obviously there's still a high mortality, and obviously we have had quite a few individuals. But just sort of thinking in terms of that, I think it's possibly more weighted on the female side. But I'm sure that there should be some form of research that's been done, and I just haven't seen it. But I think if it is, it will just be slightly more to the female, like maybe 51 to 49 or something like that. But it'd be quite interesting to actually see if there has been some research done. Maybe if Colleen or Karen know, or again anybody else that's watching, they might know of some research that's been done along those lines. I don't think we're going to get a different view from the other side, or a better view.
No,
And just with Induna, I say I don't want to upset him too much, so I think we're just going to stay here and just see if he moves or not. I just like him to get relaxed around the vehicles again, especially us, because obviously we spend so much time with them. I just like to sort of keep him relaxed around us as much as possible. Is it time for the spotlight yet or not? Is it or not?
Yeah.
I want to shine on them if I don't have to. Oh. Or not. Sorry folks, I'm just going to sort out the spotlight quickly.
Sorry, I didn't copy your video again.
Sorry, Induna.
I can't copy Caroline. What did you say?
I'm not quite understanding her. Just send again, Caroline. You can lose a bit of headroom. Lose it. Lose the headroom. Okay, do we have some more questions coming through? Okay, quite an interesting comment from Elaine. Possibly his testosterone levels are getting to a higher level. I'm not so sure, because I've not seen him actually scent marking. I've seen Mishu scent mark, and I would probably argue that Mishu is more likely to move on quicker than Induna. It could well be that his testosterone levels are starting to increase, and maybe that's just changing his personality. But I don't know if something has happened with the vehicle and that's just made him a little bit more edgy. Yeah, that's a very, very fat-bellied cat. There you go, little one. He's extremely heavy on his feet. You can actually hear every footprint. Moving that way. Unfortunately, my spotlight has decided not to work. I was hoping that it was going to start working the next few minutes. It was working before I left, but unfortunately I can't follow him with the spotlight. It looked like he was going to come around this side, but maybe not. Maybe he's carrying on through there. I don't know. Can you see Mishu at all?
Mishu, I do know.
This little one.
Yeah. Oh, I can see his face.
Yeah. I'm wondering, now that Induna's moved off, maybe we should try the other side and just see what shot we can get from that side. Induna's certainly walking very heavy on his feet.
Okay.
Very all that fat belly. I was going to try and get a little bit closer to him.
She's on a black screen at the moment.
Oh. Okay. Okay, I'll see if I can carry on with the spotlight. So Mishu was being quite protective over the meat this morning, even snarling at his mother. If he knew what she went through to get that carcass up into the tree, nearly throttling herself in the process, I must admit. My heart in my mouth a couple of times. I think the spotlight has well and truly died, unfortunately.
It's too dark.
Okay, what I can try and do is just see if I can point forward and see if I can use the headlights, but the way he's sitting, I'll see if I can maybe go around that side so that we don't disturb him too much. Let's see. Angle them off one side so we're not shining on his head. We are going to probably get the VP. Is that any better? Not really.
Yeah, it's better. You have to keep it all the way, otherwise it doesn't do.
Yeah.
press the button under it? I can't copy Caroline,
Yeah. Unfortunately, guys, so the spotlight looks like it has died a death. So it was working when I left this on drive, but it looks like there's a faulty connection in there. So I'm not going to be able to... Well, you can see a silhouette of the leopard, okay. But unfortunately, it looks like we may have to... Oh, okay. I'll see how long... Yeah, let me give that a go. Just see if it is that we have to keep the car running to keep the spotlight. I'll just see if I can try that. No. No, nothing. Okay, we do have a question coming through. Hi Pamela, welcome on board. And you're just asking, would Karula have the last say to say who should stay in the territory or not? I'd say most certainly. Once a leopard has found a territory, I really don't think they'll give it up too easily. Especially a territory like this, there's enough water, there's enough food. It's a very good territory to have. These boys must make it on their own when they do leave. There was some speculation that she gave up her territory last time for the girls. I don't think that is true from what I've read and what I've heard. I don't think it was true at all. Obviously, there's quite a high amount of leopards here in the Sabi Sands, and with there being enough game, they're actually able to overlap quite a fair bit. And we actually get to see interactions that you probably wouldn't normally get in an area where there's less leopard or less overlaps. We've had the grandmother of Misha and Induna coming in and even babysitting for Karula once. Apparently that was caught on camera. Also, Karula's daughters have been coming in on occasion. And obviously whitecloths sometimes venturing in here. So it's quite an interesting one, but I would still say Karula will stay in the territory and the boys will move out. Now it may be a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years before they actually settle down and find their own territory. They will have to do a lot more growing, I think, especially for the 3 males that are in this area. I've heard that especially one is incredibly large, Mvula down towards Bush Lodge, and then you have Yambili Jordan in the north here, who's also quite a big male, and then obviously Mufafanyan down in the south. So they have 3 very large males to contend with, and I don't think they'll allow these boys to stay once they reach maturity. They will chase them out the area, so they must find themselves an area or carry on hopping between territories, maybe be nomadic for a year, 2 years before they actually get to be a decent size, and maybe they can even challenge one of the big male leopards in this area and maybe take over their territory. Obviously, if Safari, I think she's quite an old lady now. I think she's about 18 years old or something. Whitecloth about 16. So we've got some very, very old leopards. They're living quite a long time. So if anything does happen to them, yeah, I also heard it, Mishu. If anything does happen to them, then obviously there'll be territories opening up. But now obviously you've got Whitecloth's son, who's roughly about the same age as Mishu and Induna. So he'll be coming up for needing a territory soon. And as I say, it's going to be very interesting what's going to be happening territory-wise. And with any luck, these boys might just stay in the area. Maybe if something does happen, they might just take over one of those territories and we might still see them around. Wonder if it's Induna just messing around at the back there. He doesn't seem to be too phased. I can still hear him messing around at the back. As I say, I don't particularly want to go chasing after Induna. If he's wanting to come to us, then he can, but I don't want to try and force him. I think whatever's happened, as I say, it's just rocked him quite a lot. Just from what I've seen of him, and obviously the lack of seeing him, sort of keeping away from the roads and the areas where they know people are going to see them. And so Mishu was sitting right underneath a tree, right out in the open, cars bypassing him, him really not caring what was going on at all. And as I say, animals will, if they don't care about being seen, if they don't care about vehicles, they'll go to areas where they know they can be seen. And they won't really bother them too much, but if they really don't want to be found, they will hide. Again, you can see this light's not bothering him too much. He's actually lying sort of into it. It was his decision to lie into the light. You can quite often see if you shine the spotlight directly on them. I've actually seen Mishu cover his eyes, and he actually hides his head. That's why, especially when you've got the spotlight with the bright white light, as soon as you see the eyes and you've detected the animal, it's better just to drop the light off the eyes. Because obviously, if you think about someone shining a light into your eyes, it's not nice. It hurts, and it's also you can't see. So it's the same for these animals. Remember, their eyesight is around 6 to 8 times better than our eyesight, so you can imagine what it can be like for them. So I usually just drop this spotlight onto the body, but this is quite a soft light that's on him now, so obviously he doesn't seem to be as bothered by it. I think he's watching you, Herman. Can't tell if he's watching Herman or whether he's watching something at the back there. Okay, we do have a question. Okay, thanks, Ellen. Just sort of following up on the other question. You've heard that females, lions and leopards do the killing, and the males will protect the pride. And I think obviously you've heard that they don't do the killing. The lions and the leopards do have a different social structure. Leopards are generally very solitary, unless a female has cubs. That's when you'll see the leopards together, or when they're mating. Otherwise, they're very, very antisocial creatures. That's the wrong word. Solitary creatures. At the moment, with Karula having 18 months old boys, she's still supporting them. So that's why we're still seeing her, when she makes a kill, going to find them and calling them to the kill. So she's still supporting them, but after a few more months, I think she will stop doing it. I think she's going to have to, or she'll start forcing them to make their own kills, and obviously calling them into kills probably a lot less, and it's probably going to start slacking off now. Oh, yeah, very fat belly, Mishu. Yeah, check that belly. Whereas lions, on the other hand, are very, very sociable creatures. Obviously, living as a family, they can pull down much larger prey than, say, the leopard can, generally. generally speaking. I mean, you won't find a leopard trying to pull down an elephant, for example, or a buffalo. They're just far too big. So lion can cooperatively pull down these animals. Obviously, there has been the one or two occasions where maybe just two animals have pulled down a buffalo or something like that, but they still have to be sort of cooperative hunters. It is a myth that males don't hunt. They do. Especially if it is the larger animals, they will generally help with the hunts, especially in Chobe and Botswana, where the prides have learnt to pull down bull elephants. The males there help in the kill. Obviously, their weight, you're looking about a 260 kilo animal, so that weight's really going to go a long way, as opposed to maybe a female of about 180. And so that's going to help, obviously. The way sort of territories work, you do have the pride, they'll have the territory, and the males will form a coalition. Young males of about 2.5 will get kicked out of a pride, and they must go and make their way in the world, whether it be in a coalition or on their own. Coalitions can be anywhere between 2 and 6 males. Obviously, the more males, the more chance they have of holding on to a territory, and the longer they can hold on to a territory. And obviously the more chance they have of gaining territory in the first place. And they will hunt for themselves. I think on one of my first drives here, we actually had the 2 males who pulled down a buffalo by themselves. No females in sight. But if they are with the pride, the females will do most of the hunting, as I say, unless it's a very, very big animal or very few females in the pride. And basically they need to preserve their energy for territorial defense and also mating. And during mating, they'll spend maybe 3 or 4 days with the female and mate every 15 minutes. So it takes obviously a lot of energy to do that. So that's why we've sort of got this wrong impression that males won't do any activity, won't do any hunting or anything. Because it's always been shown the females hunt and then the males will just take over the kill, but that's the reasoning behind it, is to preserve their energy. But as I say, if they have to, they will hunt, and they are capable of hunting. But the females just seem to be able to do it a lot more gracefully, I think. I don't know. From the males that I saw at my old reserve, they were very lazy. They didn't do much hunting, I must admit. But they had a fence to protect them from other lions in their eyes. So they didn't do much in the way of territorial defence. And as I say, they mucked up kills rather than helped. But the females adapted to it, and they actually utilised it. So if the males got up in mid-flow of a hunt, they'd start calling and scare the prey. So what all the females did was change the tactics around, anticipate the fact that the males would stand up and call, use that as them pushing the prey into the females that were lying in ambush, and it started working very well. And especially we had a brother and sister, and they split away from the pride, and she would actually utilise her brother like that. So if he would stand up and start roaring, all the animals would run away from him, and she would be able to then catch one, and she supported both of them, which was quite an interesting one. Okay. Many stations interested still got visual of one Ingwe here on Impala Road. I'm not surprised he's going to be quite flat now, as I say, that belly being so full.
My Buga, you are live. I'm still going to take this Mondela to the north.
Just hold on. Last station, confirm you want to come to the Ingwe lock.
And nothing Gala.
Okay, copy. Okay, we've got a question from Ginger. Okay, thanks Ginger. Welcome aboard this evening. And you're just asking why don't the leopards and lions run away from the vehicle? And again, it's all to do with respecting the animal as well. If you get too close to the animals, they will run. And I have seen it on a few occasions where people have just tried to get too close to the animal too quickly and the animal runs away. Occasionally we do misjudge the distances and things like that, and occasionally you do end up having a situation where you accidentally do make an animal run off. But as long as when you do know that an animal's there, you drive in and you respect them and their distances, and every day their boundaries change, just like people. Some days they have good days, some days they have bad days. So you have to judge what mood they're in to begin with. So when you approach an animal, you immediately drop your speed, and that obviously just will help with them understanding that you're not going to be a threat. Especially with cats, you don't point head onto them, especially straight away. I mean, I know I've got my vehicle head on to Misha at the moment. Unfortunately, I need to try and put some light on him so you guys can see him. But generally, I'd try and point my nose away so it's less threatening to them. Just remember, if you look at a cat directly in the eye, that's very threatening. And obviously with the headlights, it kind of looks a bit like eyes. So they do find it very threatening, and I've actually seen them react to cars that pull in straight towards them. So if you turn your nose away, that's kind of showing them that you respect them again. And they do relax quite a lot. And as I say, just seeing what the distance is. Now, as I say, where we pulled in, we were probably a little bit further back than the other vehicle. But with Induna just watching us, that was just basically saying to me, he's not too bothered, but he's not completely happy. Like Mishu was just flat on the ground, he couldn't care less. So just me respecting him, obviously trying to balance the fact that we would like to see him, just trying to keep that distance and keep him comfortable, because obviously the animal's going to stay a lot longer. So if you're sitting there and you still got quite a distance away, but the animal then relaxes if they fall asleep or whatever, that's showing you, okay, they're more relaxed with you. And then maybe if you are quite a distance, maybe you can try and get a bit closer. And it's taking it easy with them. And quite often, if you have the patience to sit, and if it is over a long distance, quite often they will relax and realise you're not a threat, and then you can pull in a little bit closer. 10-15 meters is close enough to an animal to keep it at a comfortable distance. Again, it will depend on how often they've seen vehicles. The lions and leopards in this area are very, very used to vehicles. Most of them are very used to vehicles. There's still the odd individual that doesn't like them, so it will be very difficult to get this close to one of them. And obviously, if the animal is relaxed enough, they may even come towards you, and they will shorten that gap. I mean, we've had Misha walk maybe half a metre down the side of the vehicle. I've had hyena already doing that. You saw the elephant this afternoon. The elephant came to us. Where I can, I'll try not to get as close to that elephant as he got to us by driving there, just to keep that respect there. And as I say, they do understand that. And as I say, unfortunately, I was caught between a rock and a hard place with the elephant that had her ears out. I would like to have sort of sat a little bit, let her relax down, which is what I did on the hill. But with having the vehicle behind us, also wanting to get past, it was either sort of stop there and them try and get past us and upset the elephants more, or try and get up the hill and just move out the way. So that was one of the calls I had to make, and obviously she did relax down in the end. But as I say, you have to watch the behaviour constantly. And they do pick up on it. And even if you look at your pets at home, they pick up on whether you've got a good intention or not. Even just talking to them. I mean, I'll talk to the animals as well. Some people think I'm crazy, but it won't be what they understand, but it will just be the tone of your voice. And even sitting here and talking now, these boys will start to recognise my voice because they'll start to see me on a regular basis, and hopefully they'll associate me with not pushing them, and not trying to get too close to them, and not, just basically trying to keep them comfortable, and hopefully they'll associate my voice with that, and we'll be able to get nice sightings of them coming next to the vehicle, and obviously not crossing that boundary. I mean, obviously if they try and use the vehicle in any way, then you've got to kind of stop that line. You've got to draw that line, because once they cross over and start being interested in vehicles, then you may have a problem with an inquisitive mind and an inquisitive cat, and maybe one day jumping on a vehicle and causing damage. So you've obviously got to keep that in the back of your mind. Obviously you want to enjoy being around these animals and enjoying being close to these animals, but always having to remember they are wild animals at the end of the day. Monitoring their behaviour, and obviously if you find that there is a problem, you've got to do something about it. And I think we're not going to get much more out of this cat. I think his belly is too full. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the drive this afternoon, and thank you so much to all the questions from everybody, and all the information as well coming through. And hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow morning for our next safari, which is at 6:30 Central Africa time. But this evening we have got a fireside chat with Mark and his remarkable creatures. And from the footage that I saw, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. So stick around for that in about half an hour's time at 6:30. But for myself, Herman and Kaz, we're going to be saying goodnight, from Mishu, and maybe an Induna in the background there. Take care, guys.
This is Kaz in Final Control. I hope you enjoyed that, watching that, what I consider not a flat cat, more like a fat cat, lying down there. Mishu looks like he's certainly had his fill. Please stay tuned with us. We'll be having Mark with his remarkable creatures at 6:30 p.m. Central African time. So I'm looking forward to that. As Tara said, it's going to be very interesting, and I hope you can stay tuned for that. Mark's always very good to listen to. And at the moment we're looking at a woolly neck stork on Gowrie Dam. He came back this afternoon, and looks like he's roosting for the night, so we'll look at him for a while, and then we might pan down and see what else we can see before Mark joins you. Until next time, or tomorrow morning,